It's so good to meet you, Jessica Slade, right? How do you pronounce your name?
That's correct, Jessica. Pleased to meet you.
And we've just been IG friends, and it's just so interesting because I put out, just mentioned what we were doing, and you understood what I was talking about, and not a lot of people knew what I was talking about America's Great Loop and the waterway. And I just said, we're looking just like everybody out there. We're looking maybe to move to another state, and we've got a nationwide team, so it's not like we have to be permanent anywhere. And I'd love for you to explain a little also about you, our realtor, and not just Alabama, but Arizona. Well, I'll let you explain where your market areas are, because we're kind of like interviewing each other also at the same time and sharing this with other people who I believe are going to be moving around the country more and more.
Well, okay. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Um, I have lived in Arizona primarily since 2006, although I spend my summers in Alabama. My family is in Alabama. Well, I have three daughters in Arizona, but my family is in Alabama still, so I can't live without them. So and I miss, I miss the South, especially the Gulf. Um, and my hometown is here in Wetumpka, where I am now, which, as I was telling you yesterday, we call the river region because it's where the Coosa and the Tallapoosa rivers form the Alabama River. But I'll get into that later. At any rate, so I first got my realtor's license in Arizona. I've always wanted to get it. But anyway, I got it a few years ago. And I immediately turned around. I got my reciprocal license in Alabama. I could work in both states. And I've absolutely loved it. It's given me an excuse to get home more often. And I actually ended up using my Alabama license a lot more than my Arizona license. Um, I much prefer real estate in Alabama actually.
That's
So yeah,
interesting.
sorry if that took too long to answer. Don't get
No,
me
not at
started on
all.
Alabama real estate.
I love it. I have relatives that are from Alabama. I had a cousin from Alabama. My mom was actually born in Tennessee. She was born in Knoxville, Tennessee, and then moved to North Carolina. So I've been those in those areas a few
Uh-huh.
times, not a lot. But and we haven't traveled a lot because we busy moms, right? Busy family raising, and you just get into your routine of where you are. And we've been in Arizona since 1995, but now we're going to be going down the intercoastal waterway. It goes from Chicago all the way to the Gulf Coast. And
Mm,
so all those areas will be areas that we can, take a look at, that might be someplace near the water that's affordable, that is beautiful. And so your area is real. I'm glad you reached out because your area looks marvelous. And you actually have a lake listing, don't you?
I do have a lake listing. Uh-huh. I have a listing on Lake Martin. Um, yes, I grew up going to Martin, Lake Jordan. Those are the two that are here in the river region. Um, and then yeah, so I grew up between those and then the river here and then the Gulf Coast. So that's why I prefer here in the summer because I always people they say, but it's so hot. People in Arizona, they'll say, but it's so hot and humid. And I'll say, listen, it is miserable both places, but at least there I have water options. So
That's so true. And in either place, if you're in a pool or in a lake or in the ocean, it doesn't bother me at all. Love it. I love being near water.
yeah. And the water's good here. It's better for your we don't have hard water here, so it's better for your skin and your hair and yeah.
That's marvelous. So I was looking at your area. Can you explain kind of, okay, so you know where I'm talking about. I'm talking about the waterway that goes down, from, we'll be
The
west of where you,
intracoastal.
yeah, We'll be west of
Yeah.
where you are, I believe. So on the west side of Alabama.
Okay. So now you're talking about the intracoastal that ends up down, that goes through Florida and ends up down in Baldwin, Alabama, I
Yep.
believe.
Mobile.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's what we'll be
Um,
doing.
in fact, I used to go with my grandfather. We would go from the intracoastal all the way, like some of his friends that were retired and lived up in, in the Florida Panhandle. We stayed back the back way, we called it the intracoastal, the whole way, and go see some of his friends who lived in Florida. So yeah,
That's
we would never go out into the main Gulf the whole time. We just stayed the intracoastal.
Yeah,
So
that's great. That's what we'll be doing. And we'll be just following the seasons. So at least once it'll take us a year to go around. Uh,
amazing. That I'm actually jealous of you.
that's that's what our friends are saying right now. Jealous. Don't keep giving us those sunset views and stuff. But
Yeah.
you have the pluses and minuses on a boat too. You have I think, I don't know if one thing I've noticed is the flying bugs. Like there's more gnats here than there
Oh,
are back in Arizona. We
yeah,
don't have very many mosquitoes and gnats in Arizona.
right. So they'll ask my youngest when she's here, they'll say, "So do you like it better in Arizona or Alabama?" And she'll say, probably Arizona because there aren't as many bugs."
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. There's definitely more bugs here.
So what is the let me ask you what you since you know Arizona home prices and market ranges. We lived in our last house was in Mesa. We've lived in Gilbert. Mark's lived in Queen Creek, Scottsdale. I have a brother up in and family up in the Cave Creek Carefree area. Our team actually is all over the metro Phoenix area, in all the cities, but we have lots of friends in Chandler. So it's kind of like Maricopa is a huge county. So,
Right.
so it incorporates a lot of cities, metro cities.
Mhm.
So, the price ranges can vary an extreme amount. Scottsdale, you could get a Toll Brothers home up there and then buy one down in Southeast Mesa, and it'd be hundreds of thousands less than being
Right.
up in Scottsdale, right? So, where's a popular now? Scottsdale is popular, especially for all the people coming into the valley. So is Queen Creek. So is Gilbert, real popular.
Mhm.
So what about the most popular areas where you work in Alabama and the Gulf Coast?
Okay, so I don't, when I first got my Alabama license, I went straight to Baldwin County, which is the Gulf Coast. But then, well, I should say now I work in the Montgomery ML, which is the capital city, and the river region is just we call the river region. But basically, I work just north of the capital in Wetumpka. Of course, I mean a house anywhere in the state, obviously, but definitely the most booming area of, well, the whole of Baldwin County is booming. Probably the one with definitely the one with the most growth would be Orange Beach.
Can you get affordable homes there still? Is it really
I
rise?
actually just looking at them this morning, and you can. They've stalled a little, so a little wiggle room there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now, and when I say affordable for an Alabama person, they might say that's not affordable, but for you, you've lived in California and Arizona, so you will think it's affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, if you compared apples to apples, beach house price, California to Alabama, I mean, it would floor you, you know.
Yeah.
Did I say Arizona or California? I meant California to Alabama. It would floor
Yeah.
you. I don't know what I said. But so like you could still get a cute home in a beachfront community. When I say beach, I don't mean Gulf. I mean on the bay where you would still get, you would still get access to a beach and you'd be able to park a boat and everything. You could still get one for under 500,000 probably.
It's good.
Actually, I saw one this morning. Yeah, that one's taken off. Orange has been popular for a while. In fact, for me, it's because I'm a country girl, it's too crowded. So if I was, not that you asked me because you didn't, because, and you've lived in, bigger cities, like you're familiar with bigger cities. Wouldn't bother for you. You'd be like, this is a beach city. I'm from California. This is nothing. But I grew up when they were tiny little communities down there, and when we had our beach place down there, it was just little teeny tiny little like fishing places, and so it's crowded down in Orange Beach for me now. So there are still other places. In fact, have you ever heard of Dolphin Island?
I have.
Yeah. Well, we locals call it Dolphin Island, but technically it's the French word for prince, Dauphin, but we call it Dolphin Island. Okay. But anyway, yeah, because Mobile was a French city. But anyway, so Dolphin Island is more affordable, but it's more rural. So it's more like what I grew up in, 30 years ago, 40 years ago down there. So there aren't as many amenities, but it's a lot more affordable even than what I just told you about. And you'd probably be able to get a direct Gulf front home where you could have a pier, that you could walk straight out onto with your boat.
Very nice.
So,
it's so exciting to think about these. There's so many pretty areas around. I know that I've been watching a little bit about the insurance in Florida because I've had
I was going to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same down in Orange Beach. In fact, that's one pro for me. If you look at a lake house versus a beach house. So I know what your budget is, and I don't know if you're planning on continuing to work, because if you're gonna invest in a home down at the beach, I mean, you're gonna have to plan on higher expenditures every month because you've got to pay for your flood insurance. And if you're buying a condo, or even if you're in, for example, one of those communities that I just talked about, you're going to have, high HOA. A lot of the HOAs do include flood insurance, but you're still going to have, after a hurricane, you're going to an assessment, so it costs a lot of money to live at the Gulf. Mm-hmm. The good thing about a lake is, and our lakes are huge, like Lake Martin is ginormous. I don't know if you've seen any of the maps of it.
Yeah, I saw it. It's big.
Yeah, it's really big. So you get a lot of the same. Well, also salt water is rough on your wave runners and your boats, but you can still have a big boat and a lot of fun stuff on like Lake Martin, for example, but you're not paying flood insurance. Our lakes are controlled so well by dams. You could look at the maps, but I guess it depends on whether or not your mortgage, is what they're requiring too. But
so, are the properties a little bit better price around Lake Martin also?
Well, Lake Martin is a lot more expensive than Lake Jordan. And it depends on what community you're into. For example, that was another thing I was going to say. Like if you're at the beach, a lot of the communities will, even the ones with HOAs, they allow you to do short-term rentals. And I don't know if y'all were planning on doing it or not, to Airbnb your place or not, to recoup some of your money. But for example, Martin, a lot of the properties, the properties controlled by something, it's called Russell Lands. Look it up on Wall Street Journal. And Russell Lands, they do not allow anything within their HOAs to be Airbnb. But not the whole lake is controlled by Russell Lands. It's a big lake. So like the property that I have for sale is not a Russell Lands property. So some of the properties can still be, you can recoup some of your money by doing a short-term rental. Now, the smaller lake I was telling you about, Jordan, it's not a Russell Lands lake, and it's just it's all, private. Well,
Jordan.
even Russell Lands is a private company. It's not like out where everything's Bureau of Land Management owned. Anyway, I went on for too long. Your turn.
No, that's super good information because that will impact you if you want to rent your place out every once in a while. That's very important information. So thank you for sharing that. And is that comparable in price, more expensive to be on that lake
It's
than
a lot less expensive than Lake Martin. Lake Martin is more popular. The water is cleaner. It's fed a different river, and the water's cleaner. But it's still like my sister lives on Lake Jordan, for example.
Mm.
Still a great lake,
Mm-hmm.
Not technically, it's not one of the Great Lakes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a good lake, I should say. It's
Yeah.
a good lake. So it's a
So
very popular lake.
so that's interesting. So you knowing Arizona, you can't buy a lot on the lakes there.
Exactly.
You can't. It's there's
Yeah, you can't be
nothing
on.
available for building.
Yeah.
So they keep that open. So that's interesting. There's not a lot of places that are left where you can build along a lake or river. But I'm finding out more and more places that are, which is
Yeah.
fun because eventually those properties are very there's less and less of them. So if there's less supply, they're going to be in high demand and they're going
It's
to
so true.
value very good.
Well, they've gentrified so much from when I was little. Like, for example, when I was young, growing up, Lake Martin was just a bunch of tiny lake cabins. And now they've got all the multi-million-dollar mansions on the lake. Well, Lake Jordan's got some too, but it hasn't gentrified like Martin has. Lake Martin has a bunch of people, from Atlanta come over and Birmingham, and but yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. It's precious property. It's a limited resource around the lake.
Hmm. Do you still have some available property and land that people can build their own homes?
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of lots available. Like if you look at the Russell Lands lots of different sizes and different communities available, and even in Lake Jordan, now they don't come up very often, but they do come up.
So you want to share your listing? Can you do that? See the listing?
Oh, I can see it. Yeah, that's it.
It's what a beautiful area to sit down. Oh my gosh, so 885,000. It's 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 1140 square feet. Okay, that gives me a good idea. Built in 1962. Heat pump.
Yeah.
What a pretty dock. So is the dock included in all that?
The dock's included, and it's got room over there on the beach area. If you'd like to build a boathouse, you could do that over there. Or if you
Mm-hmm.
want to keep it a beach, I'm a beach person. It's
Yeah.
totally up to you. But you
Yeah.
guys would you might boathouse, so
I don't
to
know.
each
I
his
don't
own.
I wouldn't want to disturb that view though.
Yeah.
How is this area?
So it's got a huge screen porch, which is nice. And then you step down those steps they've got a covered porch down there,
Mm-hmm.
and then a grilling porch, what they call the grilling porch. So,
That's beautiful. What a view.
yeah, it's so cool. It's a private lot. It's got, trees on both sides, and it's got if you wanted to expand, you could, because right now it's got for like 8 cars. So you could, add another room, bath if you wanted.
So this is all screened in.
That's all screened in.
So that adds a lot of living area, even though it's not in the total square footage of the building.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so pretty. Wow. Super pretty. Where are the sellers going?
Um, well, they grew up going to that cabin, and they're all grown up now. They have their own place, so
Yeah, that's
I don't know. Maybe they're each got their own lake cabin.
we have now. We have 4 kids, and then we have We have 12 grandchildren.
Oh, wow. That's so fun.
And they're all
That'll
in
keep you
different,
busy.
it keeps us busy, and they're all in different states. So it's kind of expensive for them to travel, and it's not as
Yeah.
expensive for us to go travel to see them. So
Yeah.
this is really fun. I bet they had tons of great memories there. Well, I hope
Yeah.
that a lot of people see this and that you get a call on this right away.
Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing that for me.
Absolutely. So, what I'd like to do is also let you share your contact information where they can email you and call you to if somebody else is thinking about moving to your area.
So my website is jessicaslade.arcrealtyco.com. And that's ARC, in case you can't understand my thick Southern accent. ARC, ARC.
ARC. Well, I look forward to talking with you more, and you just have a wonderful weekend.
You too. It's so nice to meet you. We'll talk soon. Good luck
Okay,
with everything.
thank you,
All righty.
Jessica.
Bye-bye.